Oshio. Well, it is 3:01 a.m. Central Time, and just in here in a few shakes or so, I'm going to shut this thing down and try to get some shut-eye. But I just wanted to say hi. And for some of you, I would say good night, good day, which you, and if you're rising, going down, and getting up, which oh, excuse me. Yes, I wanted to talk to you about something, a thought. Just think of it on some of the things I speak of and talk about are just food for thought. Okay, a lot of times I notice amongst Christians, and I'm going to say this, is that, and I'm not going to point because I can't see you and I wouldn't anyway. But I can't point a finger at one individual above another or whatever, because let's face it, what I'm fixing to talk about we pretty much have all been guilty of, okay? Alright? And the word is semantics. That's right. Read 1st and 2nd Timothy. It's a good read to prove a point about that. What does Shaul, or Brother Paul, talks to Brother Timothy about? Well, see, now what you read in 1st and 2nd Timothy, and Titus, for that fact, is something that all churches should be applying their doctrine, their rules of, or should I say, they should apply it according to what Brother Shaul, Brother Paul, wrote to to Timothy in the letters 1st and 2nd Timothy, and also to Titus. But there's a lot of churches that don't, and we know this. And there's only some who only apply half of what he teaches. Half don't get it. Not doing it just don't work at all. You got to do it, But Paul talks about arguing about words and silly myths and things like this. How often do we do that? Argue over words? Like I mentioned in one video once about how that, and I see a lot of deniability in some of them, but it's still the same thing. Okay, and here's what I'm talking about. Just for instance, Trinitarians and oneness doctrine. Alright, now I have listened to y'all, and others has listened to both sides. Now, when it comes to the Godhead, see, it's semantics. It really is. You're all saying the same thing, just wording it different. You think about it. I mean, how many times do we, in our everyday communications on things, I mean, we can be talking about something. I can be talking about the same thing that you're talking about, but I will have a different way to word it. I remember something, you know, I get a chuckle out of it. It's sad, but a little funny too, you know. When I was little, there was this fella who used to be a friend of the family's, you know. I know this wasn't, but I call it the love-hate relationship between my father and this one man. It wasn't, they were friends, but the way, you know, sometimes it was really funny. But they, you know, they go in church, and this one fella, it was in church one night, and Pop, he gets up and says, "The devil is a liar," and the other brother gets up and says, "No, he ain't. He's the father of it." That, you see what I mean? I mean, yeah. I mean, there's different ways people word things, you know. And what I'm challenging you, okay, is to think about this. Whatever it is that you are discussing with somebody, before you speak, think, or is that other person really talking about the same thing that you're talking about? Or, you know, they're generally on the same level, so to speak, but they're just wording it different. I mean, ask yourself this, because see, a lot of times that's how a lot of miscommunications happens. And I've been there. You know, so that's why I'm saying we're not beyond each one. You know, saying we cannot say, hey, oh no, not me. I know perfectly well what that person said. But you got to stop to think. You know, I mean, get off to yourself somewhere and think about it. Just think. See, I've done that, and I got to think and realized that the other person was actually saying the same thing that I was saying, just in a different way. Then you do come across those who, they're not on the same level. You know, they're not saying what you're saying. They are saying what you thought they were saying, you know. Yeah, it almost, again, sounds like who's on first, don't it? But anyway, my thought tonight, or this morning, should I say, is, are you arguing and fussing over words? Think about it. Whatever it is that you're having a disagreement with someone, ask yourself before you go any further, are they saying what you're saying, except they're just wording it different? And see, and they need to do the same thing when it comes to you. The Bible says, blessed are the peacemakers, not the quarrel makers. So, that's a little food for thought. Well, it's now 3:10 a.m. and I'm just going into 9 minutes here on this video. And so I am going to close this thing out, and I'm going to, after I edit all this, I'm going to shut this thing off and head them up and get some shut-eye. God bless you. Shalom. I love you all. God bless. Aho.